In multifamily, let's say you are just a passive, passive losses can offset passive income. And even just there, because I remember for multifamily, we were not active from the start. It helps to have a real estate specific accountant who is teaching you how to, you need to pay for the advisory time. I tell people, if you want to learn, you got to pay a little bit. We selected accountants that were specific to real estate. So we had a lot of multifamily investing in the first years, passive. Then when we started active, we continued doing the passive because we could see the K1s, the high depreciation.
Welcome to the Physicians and Properties Podcast, the show where we teach you how investing in real estate can give you the freedom to practice medicine and live life how you want.
Doctor!
Now, here's your host, Dr. Alex Schlow.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to another episode of the Physicians and Properties Podcast. As always, I'm your host, Dr. Alex Schlow, and thank you for taking the time to listen to another episode. Today's podcast was with my friend, Dr. Lydia Essary. She is a practicing board-certified dermatopathologist and entrepreneur. She's the co-founder of Lift Equity Invest, a commercial real estate investment company that is focused on empowering physicians to build passive income and reduce their taxes. Lydia has built a portfolio of over 3,700 units across 3 different markets and is a GP or a co-GP in 3 of those deals. She teaches physicians, other busy professionals how to make money and save on taxes through smart real estate investing. In this podcast episode, we talk a lot about Lydia's journey, how she went from single-family homes to partnering with her husband and then buying their first property, which was a 118 multifamily unit property, their first property that they bought together after they joined a mastermind program. This episode was fantastic. I think you'll get a lot of value from it. And if you learned something from this episode, do me a favor. Can you give us a 5-star rating and review and share it with one friend who you think would benefit? Thanks. Dr. Lydia Essary, welcome to the Physicians and Properties Podcast. I'm so glad to have you on the podcast today. It's been great getting to know you and follow your journey over the last year and a half. And so really excited to sit down and talk with you today. Thank you for your time. How are things going?
Oh, really well. I'm excited. Thanks for having me here today.
Absolutely. Well, for folks who don't know who you are, do you mind telling them a little bit about yourself?
Sure. I'm a dermatopathologist in Dallas. For those who haven't heard that designation, I do pathology, but only pathology of the skin. So my life is around an outpatient center. No, I'm in a private lab, and we read a lot of biopsies. Coming from our different clients. I don't do hospital work. So that also explains how my schedule is a little bit flexible because I don't get calls, I don't get very emergency rushes. We do get rush cases, no, but it's a little different from being in a hospital setting. So my journey in commercial real estate started about 11 years ago when we started with single families, like most people do. But quickly we evolved to multifamily, especially I'm talking about my journey because my husband had been doing a lot of single families for a while, but I was not participating directly. So when we both started working together, it was like a combination of multifamily and single family. Later, I would say several years later, we joined a coaching program that is based here in Dallas, and we met a lot of other people. So we were able to syndicate some properties. First, I started as a passive investor, but it didn't take us too long, but maybe a little over a year, and we started operating as GPs too. So we have 3 of those deals. There are 2 are in Texas, 2 are in DFW, 1 is in Houston. We have built a large portfolio of units through the passive investing too. So it's been exciting, but I would say I'm an example of somebody who has done this journey or developed this business while working in medicine. So that's possible too. And I like to emphasize to my colleagues, you have to quit. If you like really commercial real estate, you could invest. You really need to set your goals, see the science, see how much of your time you want to commit to investing because you gotta see what are your objectives. No, is it really just to increase your net worth or more cash based on the income inside how to go?
Yeah, I agree. I think, you don't need to quit your W-2 and go full bore into real estate investing. It can be really helpful to invest in real estate, get some cash flow, get some extra income, and use that to kind of cut back over time if you'd like, or just kind of get that, buffer or some freedom. And I think folks hear financial freedom a lot and they think like, oh, I just have to burn the boats and go all in and quit my job and never practice medicine again. It could just be some degree of freedom, which might be like, hey, I have some passive income coming in. I'm going to just work one less half day or something like that. And so it can really be flexible in that regard. Lydia, you mentioned starting about 10 to 11 years ago in single family homes and that your husband was also investing in real estate. What was it like, kind of the transition from single family homes to multifamily? And then a follow-up question would be, what was it like joining forces with your husband and kind of partnering together on your real estate journey?
Oh, let me tell you, the multifamily was, I would describe it an accident because we had signed up for single family rehab workshop. It was on the weekend. We totally didn't know that they too was going to be multifamily. So a different mentor came on board and we were really excited about listening, all the tax advantages, all the benefits, the economies of scale, how you can work in groups, how you can leverage the knowledge of other people. It was like an eye-opener for us. So when they announced there was going to be another workshop of 3 days, multifamily, like a couple of weeks later, we immediately signed up for that, not to learn a little more. But landing in that initial day was an accident. We're trying to, buy distressed homes and, make them ready and actually keeping them. We have never done flipping. No, we wanted to just rehab homes and keep them for long term. No. So we had some of those homes for a while. I mean, when we learn more multifamily, we're trying to slowly get rid of them because they're more high maintenance, even if you have somebody managing them. They require a little more attention. But going back to your second question, yeah, it was interesting. Let me tell you, prior to me joining the investing, I was just a mom, I'm a doctor, and I thought I was doing too much. I mean, really, I think I was a little too spoiled because my husband did everything. He got his job, being a dad, but in terms of his family, he was just used to invest in single families. So he had seen that before, so he always gets some single families. He tried to get me involved and I was not interested. I remember those days, too much, away as a sort of excuse. No? And it was not until I read Kiyosaki that book has been a game changer for a lot of people, but it was an impact on me too, that I was the one actually looking for that workshop. Learn how to find resources, do this rehab a little more efficient. That was my excuse. We were working fine. We've been working fine until now. He's slowed down a little now because of health reasons. No, that he cannot go as fast as before. But it was a good, like we had a new journey together. While in the past there was a little more like just being parents and our jobs. So it was a good move.
You mentioned being just a mom and just a doctor. Those are both full-time busy jobs. So I don't want to glaze over that. That's for sure. But I'm sure it was probably helpful to join forces with your husband and invest together and go through that journey together. Was there anything that you learned during that process about working together that might be helpful if people are listening to this and they're thinking, oh, man, I really want to get my wife on board or my husband on board so we can go through this real estate investing journey together?
Yes, I think I would recommend, I know husband has problems with getting their wives involved. Sometimes getting like an outside party, invite them to go. Because like I landed in that workshop, I had to hear from somebody else to pay attention. He said, one complaint, I'm sorry, the husband say, oh, my wife doesn't listen to me. Or, I don't know why. I remember my parents saying the same thing, but he was trying to tell me, you need to invest your money. I know we have my savings together, but the money you're making, he was trying to keep it. He knew my 401k was not producing much money. And you think I worry? I was not worried at all. I say, hey, you're managing my money, just invest whatever you can. I'm not going to get upset. We don't make a lot of money. It's just lack of knowledge. We take it for granted that we have high salaries and we should be fine. Even my parents told me, yeah, you did a good job, you're going to be fine. And you and I know that's not true. No, we really need to prepare it's not only preparing for retirement, it's preparing for the life we want to live. I clearly remember that example that he used in his book when his wife finally got interested in real estate. And she says, oh, I want to buy a car. So how do you want to pay for that car? Who is going to pay for it? So he gives her the idea, well, maybe you can buy a rental like I'm doing, and then those $300 are going to pay for your car. There you can have a car every year if you want. And Kim Kiyosaki, I got to see her later at another conference. She remembers that. I said, yeah, I remember how my husband got me involved. But I would advise the spouses in general, not only the doctors, is you can find a workshop or could be a friend or some outsider who can influence. Because I think, I don't know if it's a women nature or it could just be me. You know, when you hear several people advocating for something, I start paying attention. Yeah, it might be good. I don't know, to be that's what I would do.
I think that's great advice. It's true. I think back to like my days playing baseball, and my dad would be like, he was one of the coaches, and he'd tell me what to do. He'd be like, hey, you're pulling your shoulder out on the pitch, and that's why you're not hitting it, or whatever it may be. And I wouldn't do it because he told me. And then the other coach would tell me the same thing. I'd do it, and it would work. And so sometimes that outsider perspective, having another voice also telling you, hey, here are some of the benefits. Here's a great idea about real estate investing. That can be really helpful. I completely agree. I think that's a great way to do it. And for folks who are wondering what book Lydia is referring to, Rich Dad, Poor Dad by Robert Kiyosaki, great book. If you haven't read it, really can like completely change your mindset in terms of financial freedom and investing and looking at things as assets and liabilities. And I love that example too. And I think it's helpful for doctors to hear that, like, if you're thinking about, hey, I want to go buy that new fancy car or whatever else out of residency, think about, hey, could you buy an asset that then cash flows the monthly payment of that car? So then you're paying for that car with an asset, with a cash flow of that asset, like a rental property. So it's a really cool way to think about things and do things. Not saying that the fancy car is a bad thing, but the rental property is going to serve you better over time.
Right. Yeah. Having that outsider view helps. I think it could be unconscious. That's the way we do it. I say, well, I don't want to fear to my husband, but I think it's unconscious because you trust your husband, you trust your spouse, but for some things you need that, in this case, he was that outsider in the conference. And me seeing a lot of people doing that, started asking how, like the multifamily. It was good to find a network. I definitely tell people, if you want to advance quickly in multifamily, and in general, in real estate, having a network of a community of people that think like you, that are looking for the same purpose, they're going to provide a lot of resources, a lot of advice, and sometimes partnering with them. So,
yeah, it's a great way to get started, but a great way to really grow faster with that support system and with that network. Lydia, you've gone to a lot of conferences and been in rooms with some awesome people. And I know those conferences cost money, and I know those coaching programs cost money. Did you struggle at all with the thought of like, oh man, I'm paying a lot of money for this coaching program, for example. Is it going to be worth it or not? And kind of what would you say to folks who are on the fence about potentially doing a coaching program or joining a mastermind or something like that when it comes to the financial side of things, that there is that upfront cost?
definitely not. I don't know. A little bit could be. Well, I know we all doctors come from different backgrounds, but maybe I learned this from my parents. They always told me when you want quality and expedite, you have to pay the price. And it might cost you, but I didn't. Well, it was both decisions. No, we feel bad paying that high membership for the coaching. And I think it quickly because just buying the first property. I remember when I first joined a mastermind here in Dallas, there was a curious thing that they say after you close your first multifamily, we'll give you your membership, the price of the membership back. They did. I was thinking, why is that? I never understood the rationale. I think it's because they use our success as a promotion of their business. We were shown many times, so Lydia and Frank came and did this property after only so many months of being here. And they found, I remember our first property was a solo investment. It was just the two of us. And it was a large property in here in DFW. So they have used that to promote their own program a lot. So we got paid back. But when I joined a second coaching program, no, they didn't have that incentive, but still, I just feel we're so busy. If you evaluate the value of your time, how much your hours are worth, and you're probably going to advance the same when nobody's telling you you're not capable of finding how to do this. But I think chip is like a shortcut to what you want to do. it definitely accelerates your progress if you know how to use your resources. Because they put them out there and you can judge who's good, who is bad, where to go. And I think it's definitely a shortcut, an accelerator for what you want to do.
Yeah, I completely agree. Sometimes folks just look at that initial cost that they have to pay and they don't think about, well, if this gets me a multifamily property, for example, 6 months earlier, you've probably made back the initial cost and more of that program potentially. And so thinking about it from the lens of like, okay, what is the cost of me not doing this, or what is the cost of this taking a lot longer to do if I try and do it myself? Because the information's out there. You can find all the information you need probably for free on YouTube and Bigger Pockets and some of these other great platforms to buy multifamily or to buy assisted living or to do whatever type of real estate investing you want to. But it's that accountability, it's the community, it's the networking. That's the secret sauce that's going to help you reach your goals and reach them way quicker than you could ever imagine.
Definitely. Yeah. I consider the value of our time, especially those who are still employed, like me. I know I have very good hours, 4 days a week. Plus all the vacation I have. I really have a lot of extra time compared to some clinicians, no, the clinical people. Yeah, you guys depend on the patient coming and you cannot get out. That can accelerate my day if I want to. So my special, I'm grateful that it's flexible. I think it has allowed me and give me more time to do it, but definitely mentorship helps. The community having a mastermind, I would have no hesitation if that's what I want and I'm ready. I will pay for that. I'm sure you see that quickly. You may be acceptable, but the more productive you do, the more tax advantages you see at the end of the year. And that has accrued a lot. I think if I like to talk about taxes when I talk about investment, because I have seen that as one of the major players, the major benefits of being in real estate.
Yeah, well, let's pivot to that. What tax savings or tax benefits have you seen throughout your career, and how's that helped you save on taxes through smart real estate investing?
Well, in multifamily, let's say you are just a passive, passive losses can offset passive income. And even just there, because I remember for multifamily, we were not active from the start. It helps to have a real estate specific accountant who is teaching you how to, you need to pay for the advisory time. Again, you're not going to get this for free. I tell people, if you want to learn, you got to pay a little bit. But we selected accountants that were specific to real estate. So we had a lot of multifamily investing in the first years, passive. Then when we started active, we continued doing the passive because we could see the K1s, the high depreciation. We're talking about the good years. No way. Trump put in this bonus depreciation, the 100% bonus depreciation. So we got a benefit in several investments. So, you have gains from this property, you have distribution. So all that income gets immediately, sheltered by your passive losses. So it's like if you have an extra $100,000 a year just on gains from passive income, that is if you have enough losses for that. And then depends on your tax bracket. But I think all the physicians were a similar tax. It's not so. And then regarding my income, that didn't happen until my husband converted to real estate professional status because we didn't know, let me tell you, but even though he had been doing real estate for a long time and he was deducting everything, all the losses, he was working, but the accountant we had at that time, which seemed very good, he never said, hey, you could reduce your hours, you could do this. Because I think the accountants, they don't do it unless you pay for the advisory time, they get paid. They always told us, I remember he was telling my husband, you need to buy something, you need to buy more stuff, you need to buy so you have more reductions. But we were never taught about the real estate professional status until we advanced being in the coaching and getting better networks. So when that happened, because we had a lot of losses, we could offset my W2 income. So those have been the major ones. I think to the point of not paying taxes for the last 4 years, maybe. And that's a big chunk of money because, I'm a W2. I've been a 1099 before this last job because in pathology it's very common to be employed, 1099 W2. Very seldom you find a business. Those were more common in the past, I think. But yeah, it's with the losses until now, you can carry them forward and keep offsetting your income. And what you do with the money is you just reinvest it again. We were not there really to spend money. We don't have the fancy, luxurious life. We like to travel, but I would say we travel really very simple. So we get to do everything we like, but we get to invest a lot because that's maybe we was enjoy seeing the money growing. And what was in the beginning just thinking of having more cash for us or having a more comfortable retirement now is becoming more, well, maybe we can leave a legacy. No, two kids, adults, but we were thinking, no, maybe we can leave something for them, something that we never thought of. Because I was not trained by my parents, like you have to think of the other generations, but it's common, from the conferences we attend, we learn about a generational wealth. Oh, maybe, so we're working on that now, even working with how to managing our state and just trying to get more updated on that.
That's amazing. Yeah, you haven't paid taxes in 4 years. That is awesome. And it's all completely legal. And I agree. As a physician, balancing your medical career with a growing real estate portfolio can be challenging. That's where Dr. Doc comes in. They don't just offer loans, they provide tailored financial solutions designed by doctors for doctors. Dr. Doc has already helped customers secure millions fast, headache-free funding for their real estate investments. With their streamlined process, you get quick liquidity, no prepayment penalties, and a soft credit check, meaning no impact on your credit score if a deal falls through. Looking to expand your investment property portfolio? Dr. Doc offers competitive rates and customized options to help you build wealth and diversify your assets. They also offer solutions for consolidating debt or home improvements. Join the thousands of doctors who trust Dr. Doc for fast funding and personalized support. Say goodbye to financial roadblocks and hello to your next investment success. I think it's really important to work with a CPA, a tax accountant who understands real estate and understands how to read the IRS code and how that applies to real estate, because there's so many different ways that real estate can benefit you from a tax perspective that your, typical CPA who doesn't have real estate experience may not know, may not, want to put the effort in or whatever that may be. From a tax perspective, Amanda Hahn is amazing. She's been on the podcast twice. Brandon Cox is a friend of ours. He's another really fantastic CPA who has a lot of real estate experience. There's a lot of folks out there who do great work, but that can be a game changer, not to mention the real estate professional status. So, to kind of in summary of what Lydia was saying, before real estate professional status, you could offset the passive gain. So if you are an LP, a limited partner investor on an apartment complex, and say you made $5,000 in cash flow and you had this depreciation of $20,000, you could offset that $5,000 in taxes. Then you'd still have a $15,000 depreciation on passive income that would carry over. With real estate professional status, that can carry over to active income. So if your spouse is not employed or they're interested in doing another path, potentially getting real estate professional status can be a great way, because those losses can be carried over against active income, which is what Lydia has done, where she's paid no taxes in 4 years, which is absolutely amazing through real estate professional status. So really, really cool way to do that. Lydia, let's go back to that first large deal that you did. You mentioned that it was just you and your husband solo after the coaching program. What was that like? How'd that deal go? What were you feeling and thinking when you did that deal?
Wow, we were really new on that one. There was a 118-door apartment complex in Yulee, maybe only 15 miles south from here. No? So a very central area. I'm very central. I was very innocent, I think. We both, we didn't know exactly. I mean, we knew what we were doing. We knew we had the coaches, but we didn't know what was coming up regarding management. That was the problem. I mean, the closing, everything went fine. I mean, we got some incentive from the seller because this was a distressed property. Distressed property means that it's not stabilized, it needs a lot of renovations. It probably needs to be, because paying. I remember something strange happened at that point. I think I was traveling a lot, and my husband ended up doing most of the management, even though he was working too. But our experience was good regarding the acquisition. I think we got a very good price. These were the days where you could buy, I think we pay only $37,000 per door. You wouldn't believe that. 2013. You cannot buy anything like that anymore. I mean, let me tell you, the property looked pretty. I mean, a good location, but it was the bad management. There were a lot of tenants that were not paying. And the visibility was good. There was a school very close nearby. We learned tons of marketing strategies, but our management company didn't have a good presence in the property. We had a lot of questionable expenses. That was my main concern. The owner seemed to be very cooperative. I'm talking about the owner of the management company. They were not based here. That's another error we made. We saw we should have hired a company with more presence here. They were based in Colorado. So that was a no-no. I would advise somebody, don't do that. I know they were highly recommended. They had good reviews, but even him says, no, I need to talk to my regional manager to see what's going on with your property. They had a lot of extra expenses. I think there was a mixed management there. Our net income was falling low, because we had to pay the mortgage and all the expenses. So we were very close to fall on the red. And at that point, we decided, and it was almost a year, we had to change management companies at that point, because my husband kept telling me, we need to give them an opportunity. You're too quick to change. I said, well, I'm going to fall on the other side. And we don't have investors. The money has to come from us, not to compensate the problem. But something good this management company did, because I don't want to completely take credit from them. The owner was trying to help. He traveled several times to Dallas and got the property under code. So it depends on where you buy your property. They have different requirements of things need to be built, or it looked like when the remodeling was done, it was not strictly that to code, and it was sold to us that way. So a lot of the money that we have borrowed from the bank to do this rehab had to be used to fix the codes first, because the city kept sending us letters. No, we had to fix that first. And he got that done. And so before completing the agreement with them, because they understood that we were not happy with all the extra expense and mismanagement, he says, okay, I'm not going to hold you up to the agreement. You understand what you guys want to move. We had another company lined up, and we did a transition that was friendly. Until now, we talked to him. Recently, I talked to the other. He knows that was like a bad experience for both of us. We try to separate friendly, but the new company, based here in Dallas, rapidly worked on putting there. There were 2 people in the leasing office all the time. They were able to re-tenant faster. And one of them was even really good. I mean, we made friends with those managers. They were acting like in the old days. They knew there was a school close to the property and some small businesses. They were walking there and leaving papers, like in addition to all the advertising online. We were able to retain that very well. So our second and third year went really well. The occupancy raised from, let me tell you, maybe 73%, very low, to 90s, 94 at the point we were not thinking of selling the property. But some guy from New Jersey came and says, are you selling your property? No, the approach wasn't here. The owner of the management company said, yeah, somebody is interested in your property. No, will you consider that? Because I know it's been a really challenge for you with you traveling, me having my traveling. And I told Frank, yeah, maybe it's a good opportunity. So we came pretty way ahead of the price that we sold it. I mean, some people tease me. They say, you could have gotten more. But I said, no, I think I'm very happy with the money I made with the property, and we all exceeding a good way. But I think if I had had more experience with management, it would have been an easier ride, because really they were scary or telling us, these are all property. It was a C property. They had a chiller instead of fish. You only having the air conditioning. So I remember when the chiller broke in the middle of the summer, and this is Texas. It was so scary because, oh my God, we could lose a lot of tenants right there. They get mad. I mean, they could, yes, because to me, if we don't fix that quickly, it's like you are breaching the agreement. It's our fault. So we had to act rapidly to fix it. In one case, I think we even had to buy one. All coming on us. Investors all coming on us, and whatever little money we have from the property. So it was a true challenge, but good. I mean, I think we gained some recognition at the end for having brought the property that was distressed to bring it to, and then being profitable to the point of selling it for profit.
That's amazing. Yeah, what a great story. And I think we might have glossed over the fact that you said 118 units for that first deal. So that's amazing that you just went for it and that you felt confident and you you just went for that deal and really crushed it ultimately over time. It sounds like the big takeaway was property management, local property management, really important to have them be local, vetted, and how important good property management can be for multifamily.
Yeah, I would say the other advice is don't be afraid to ask your regional manager or the owner. I've seen these guys rely too much on the owner. I don't know if they were told to operate that way, but we were expecting a more independent person who resolves things quickly and maybe somebody with a little more experience. That's the way it looked first. They were organized, but I don't think they knew exactly what everything was. The accounting was done in Colorado. I was setting just to find the account. I mean, there was nobody here in Dallas, no? So that didn't happen with the second company. So it was inexperience on our part to accept like this, no? When everything look good, they give you a proposal, they make adjustments to the contract. You can probably control when they call you, no? Because they cannot be calling you all the time. You have to put a stop, no? They say the expense cannot be $100, and they need to start calling you. But for other ones, they have more flexibility to go ahead and fix it. So we adjusted a lot of things, and they were fewer. Of course, the rep that was trying to sell us their agreement, he was very good, but what we never thought it could be a problem is having this extra management out of town. I would not recommend.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, kind of crazy first deal. And, now I know the portfolio is over 3,700 units. Is that correct?
Yeah, only, I would say, I think it's the number right, 613 we are GPs in 613 of those.
Wow.
The other are passive management. Yeah, we have invested in a lot of properties that are large, are 300, 400.
That's awesome.
Investing with more experienced people, but we have only an LP role then. But that's one of the guys that recently, he could do that. Experience, in spite of all the difficulty, he was able to sell one of the property because he likes to return the money like after 5 years. No, it had been 5 years. He has investors, some of them needed the money. In our case, we didn't need the money. But he said, well, I'm going to try to honor what everybody wants. And he found a decent value. He actually offered us like a 1.95 equity multiple at the end of 5 years. But with all the situation last year, that was not possible. I think we got like 67, maybe 7% gain over the initial investment, which I think it was very good. And when he showed us a new property that he got in Dallas, very good area, beautiful property. And only somebody like him will get a property like that because he's well known. No, at a good price, we decided to invest again with him because I was thinking, oh my God, I need to have some sort of loss this year because I'm going to have a gain. With your gains. So yes, we'll invest with you again. Definitely, actually, when you invest in town, we actually drove where the property was beautiful. Really was amazed how beautiful it was. We reinvested the money. She paid us back. So only people that have been in this business for a long time, and it was close to the end of the year, and the seller knows that they will be able to close. They won't have problems raising the capital. So he got it, and we're going to get a loss there. We're excited about it. We need to accumulate our loss. That's the way you have gains.
Yeah, the tax game. That's awesome. As we kind of wrap things up here, what are a few lessons you've learned over the last couple of years in multifamily? We talked about before the podcast how it's been a challenging time with interest rates rising so rapidly and bridge debt and so forth. What are some things that you've learned that you would want to pass off to folks who are interested in investing in multifamily or just getting started?
Well, for multifamily, my big lessons would be, I used to think that the property alone will help you decide. That's a big mistake. The number one factor for me to decide on a property is who is running the property, who acquired and who is going to be running the. Like I mentioned this example about the student. But number two would be the market. Where is the property located? Is there a good location? Is the population growing? Is the employment growing in the location? I mean, it might be the way we were trained with our mentor. Pick a state that is business friendly and landlord friendly. Not that we're against the tenant, no, but we wouldn't like to invest in a state where it takes you 9-10 months to do an eviction because they decided not to pay. That seems to be unfair too because there is operations, you need to keep running the business and you need that income. So business friendly, landlord friendly, and the third factor is the property itself. Yeah, it has to be cash flowing property. ideally, no. It doesn't matter from where the money is coming from. Could be just operations or this a value add opportunity. But I would list them in that order. Number one, the GP team. Number two, the market. And number three, the property. Look at those three.
Yeah, that is great advice. I completely agree. What are some things that you're working on now or what's coming up for you in the future?
Well, we're still underwriting. The prices are coming down a little. I went to see a property yesterday, but still the numbers don't work. I mean, I think the seller is asking a little too much. It's a good property. The interest rates are still the same. So I think something needs to happen. Everybody tries to be positive, but I think in the multifamily environment, it could still be the same all this year, according to some of the brokers I listen. Because of the taxes, something needs to be done about the taxes, because in Texas, not really they increase every year. I know in some other states, more states like Arizona, no, Phoenix, there are great properties there, and the taxes are raised only every 4 years. They're very stable. But here, so many people are moving here, really taxes are needed, not to build schools. Something needs to be done. And I hear good things that some states are trying to put limits on property taxes, so I hope something is done. Insurance has been another factor hitting us hard too, and that I think that could be regulated a little too, because it's true we have bad weather here. Come on, they were insuring us for much less, 5 years ago. I mean, or this, I don't know, I think it's lack of control a little bit. But I would say keep looking, because the housing business is a good one. And you are in the housing business. The multifamily is a good one. People need a place to live. The government is always going to give incentives, so don't quit evaluating properties. If you want to join a coaching group or a mastermind, I mean, they have different names. I do that. I think don't pay a lot up front. Go to a workshop, maybe with them, something on the weekend. And if you like the way they conduct the meetings, maybe you can join them.
That's great. You're speaking at an event coming up. Is that correct?
Yeah, there is a group, social media doctors. They go by Soul Dogs, and they're organizing an investment conference in July. I think it's July 19th to the 20th. But you can look it up, and I'm sure you're going to share that link. No? Social media doctors, and it's going to be exclusively dedicated to people, to teach doctors about investing so they can feel comfortable. But they're going to interview people or ask people like me, who have invested for some time in different areas, because not everybody does multifamily. There is going to be a lot of coaching about how to build your mindset. That's very important. Some people think that by saving the money, they're growing the money that way. But no, you really need to transform your mindset. If you don't have it already, some people have it, from just being, I would say, a doctor, a working doctor, to being a rich mind, to being somebody who can actually create wealth, because you can easily do it with investing in real estate.
That's amazing. Yeah. Well, looking forward to hearing more about that event, and we'll include the links in the show notes for that. Lydia, folks want to reach out to you, know more, potentially invest with you. How can they get a hold of you?
I'd say I have a website. That's the easiest one. If you Google me, Lydia Essary, you can see the spelling there. The name of my company is Lift Equity Invest. And that's a Lift with an I, not with a Y, L-I-F-T, Lift Equity. Also, I have a good LinkedIn page. You can, again, Google me, find me there. That's the way, actually, a lot of people contact me through LinkedIn. I also provide an email you're welcome to use that you can find in the website.
Sounds great. Yeah, those links will be in the show notes as well. Yeah, I agree. I've been using LinkedIn more lately. It's been really fun to connect with people on there as well. So yeah, LinkedIn is a really cool platform. Well, that's awesome, Lydia. Thank you so much for your time and coming on the podcast. I'm excited to see where this next year takes you. Excited to hear more about the events you're speaking at. And it's been awesome getting to know you today on the podcast. So I appreciate it.
Oh, thank you. This is fun. My mission is to share my experience and share with the doctor, because some people think doctors have an easy life. That's not true. I think the sooner they start, the better it's going to be for them.
Absolutely. I could not agree more. That's a great way to wrap things up. Well, with that, it's been Dr. Lydia Essary and Dr. Alex Schlow with another episode of the Physicians and Properties podcast, signing off. Hey, real quick, if you're still listening to this, I'm assuming you got value from it. So I need your help specifically. My 2-year vision with this podcast is to help 100,000 physicians Learn how investing in real estate can give you the freedom to practice medicine and live life how you want. There are two main ways that a podcast grows. One is through ratings and reviews, and the other is word of mouth. If you can please leave me a 5-star rating and review on Apple Podcasts and Spotify, as well as send this to 1 to 2 friends that you think would get value from it, we can reach the physicians that we want to reach. Thanks in advance, and talk to you on the next episode. Please note that the information shared on this podcast is for informational purposes only and should not be considered financial or medical advice. The views expressed on this podcast are those of the host and the guest and do not necessarily reflect the views of the Department of Defense or the United States Air Force.